When I thought that I figured out what I wanted to do, I had this plan. Me and my roommates would be like, oh, when we finish school, we'll just like go for NYSC. After NYSC, we'll look for a job, we'll look into ABJ. We had this beautiful plan until life hit. Hello guys, here welcome to the amazing episode on EWL podcast. Don't forget that this podcast is a platform for you to be expressive and a reality check. I'm your host, Luchi Gloria, and so my friend suggested I wear like a biggie, I don't know what they call it, buba, what do they call her? She suggested I wear a boo today, so I am on a boo, courtesy of my producer, my friend. Hi guys, so today's topic is titled Strength. What shows that you are a strong person? What defines a strong person? So I'm going to tell you my story and I hope you pick up one or two from my story. This episode is really, really sensitive. I hope I don't break down. I hope I am still popping and smiling as I am. So I was on my Instagram as usual, as I like to take life experience as a yardstick to talk about things on my episodes or on my podcast. And I remembered when I was going through this tough period in my life, like I told you guys, for those of you that kept up with me on YouTube, I went through a lot last year. A lot happened to me. And what mattered is that I pushed through. I eventually overcame whatever thing that was on my way. It's not that my scar has completely healed, but I know that I am in a better place and I'm grateful to God for the strength he gave to me. And he's still giving to me, guys. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. Sometimes I would just like break down. But I am grateful. So our topic today is strength and my story. So I think around December 2021, we're planning for one service in church. It's called Youth Connect. So we're planning for one service. I had finished my project and I remember all my friends. So I have a close circle, like you guys know. For those of you that are like family members on this channel, I have like family members that are always around me. So we had this discussion and we're like, okay, what happens after school? A lot of us was like service, they will start working. And yes, that was the plan. We had this plan figured out. Like we already like, oh yes, this was going to happen. Everybody was excited. And we were done with school. We went back home. And when I got back home, I was informed that my dad was sick. So the funny thing about my story is that my dad was sick, yes. My dad was sick from January 2022 to February 2022. He was okay. He became so fine. He was strong. We even attended the feast in April. My dad was healthy. Everybody was fine. Then my life took a very different turn. Something that I've been a very, very responsible person. I've always been handed over responsibility. But October 2022 defined this moment for me, defined this topic for me, strength. Guys, October 2022, I will never forget 5th of October 2022 when my dad broke down again. He was unhealthy, everything that I knew to be life. I mean, I've gone through things, but my bed of roses became like a bed of thorn. Everything was just happening. I remember I sat down in the parlor that day and my brother just came back from church when I had informed him about what happened. And my brother just came back from church that day and he was like, oh, Luchi, what's the problem? I want to finish. Your daddy has gone down again. So what are we going to do? And I remember sitting there in that moment and I did not give up at that point. I just said to myself that Luchi is going to be fine. You're going to like pass this phase as usual. And that was the story of my life. For the past 7 months, from October to May, okay, let me not go to May because at May I had not known what was going to happen. So from October, we experienced everything I experienced to January. I remember speaking to my friends. I prayed to God every day that God bless Chimaka Adimegu. I don't know. She just made it a point of duty to come to the house every day that period. And I remember what happened. I was just like, I was telling Chamaka that, Chamaka, this is my life. I saw myself becoming a mother. I saw myself becoming a father. I saw myself becoming a daughter. It was a very difficult point in my life. But there's something I came across, and it taught me that at some point in life, you're going to like face things that are impossible, because what I was faced with was impossible situation. My daddy and my mom they were traveling for treatment. I was left to handle my siblings to make sure that they are still in school, just to contain the situation. So imagine me waking up one morning and my life became defined by just one singular situation. It was a very different point for me at that time. I remember I would cry my eyes out, guys. I would cry. There are days I would just cry and cry, hoping that God, please change my situation. I am tired of being in this situation. And I would just like, I just remember going through that time, and I was like, oh, Luchi, what is happening? You can't break them at this point. But being strong does not necessarily define that you're not going to break down, because I'm human. At a point, I would have said I was close to depression, guys. So around May, I was supposed to travel for a feast, and I saw my mom. Guys, that woman would cry. She would stop crying, but she just kept going. She just believed that there's something I always tell people on that day. Situations are not forever. Situation will take turns, whether for good or bad. But one thing that is certain in life is that situation is not forever. So around April, when I came back from the feast, or before going for the feast, I remember traveling. I told my mom that I was going to just stay for 2 days and I will come back. She was like, no, just stay for the 8 days and whatnot. And I was like, okay, I'll stay. And yes, I stayed for the 8 days. I came back. I was trying to like have a conversation with my dad, and he was just different. It was a different, you could see the dark cloud roving around us that period. And May happened, guys. A point in my life that defined my strength, because I broke down. So May 5th, when we finally experienced the death of my dad. So May 5th on Friday, another person I want to appreciate on this episode is my friend Wakochiso. It was deep. I remember calling her that day, and I was telling Chisom that my dad has gone under the LCJ. What am I supposed to do? And she was like, Oluchi, just calm down. Just be there. I think another episode I'm going to share with you guys was my, like, I think I owe you guys one episode to really outline this May 5th. May 5th was a very, very strong, like, I think I owe that episode. So I remember calling my friend Chisom, and I was telling her that, see what's happening. No, I don't know. I was crying. I was attending to customers. I was crying. I would go into the office. I would come outside. It was something that I did not know. Like, I was not informed of the situation. I think that is this word. I was not informed of the situation. And I'm here today on this episode to share my story. It happened. I lost my dad May 5th, and I am here. I'm still alive. It's a situation that I always think. I think when I was informed that my dad was dead, rather, I think 1,000 thoughts went through my head. It was a thing of, how am I going to forge ahead? I'm so used to that man that I don't even know. He informs me of every decision he wants to take. And for every decision I want to take, I inform him. So we had that kind of relationship. And it kind of defined, like, my life took a very different turn that period. So on this episode, I want to ask you guys, what is your own definition of strength? Because I know for me, my personal experience, I think strength is the ability to stay in that uncomfortable situation, absorb the situation, be in that cringy and weird situation, because life is just so funny. At that point in my life, I was not given the choice of, do you want to experience this? It was a choice of, you have to face this head on, or you have to face it head on. So it looked like I had a choice, but I did not have a choice at that point, guys. It was experience it or experience it for me. And I think at that moment, I tried to understand what life was and how to push forward as a young girl that I was, as a young lady that I was. And that moment was tough. I had to teach myself to experience that nightmare, and hopefully I was telling myself that you would wake up from those nightmare one day, you would be able to do things for yourself again. You'll be able to, like, I think I was out of YouTube or anything entertainment for 9 months until I attended one conference online, and it was just the lady saying taking peace for a long time, staying dormant for a long time just because bad things happen to you does not necessarily mean that bad things will happen to the rest of the world. Everybody's not going to lose their father. Everybody's not going to experience such huge responsibility on their shoulder just because you experience it. But what really mattered is how you come out strong from that situation. So when you are uncertain about certain things, when you think you've run out of emotion, when you think that you have run out of strength, when you think that you're unsure about a lot of things, how do you exhibit your strength? I'm not talking about unhealthy competition where you feel like you have to prove to everybody that you have made it. I think there's a lifestyle I adopted from my dad, and that is always be in that situation where you are uncomfortable around things and you are admitting that you are uncomfortable about those things. Don't be in an uncomfortable situation and you are allowing the world to see that, oh, I have this all figured out, because the truth is we don't have it all figured out. I just said a story about planning what was going to happen after school, and in my head is this is what's going to happen. Oh, I have this lunch date with my dad in the next 2 months. We're prepping for his 60th birthday. We're prepping for this. Plans are very nice. I advise everybody to plan, but don't start planning and you're already seeing the end of the plan, because even God himself is a God of process. So for everything we experience, it is to make that beautiful person you want to see in the future. Don't just look at, I want to be a beautiful person. Well, you should understand that for you to get to that place, it's going to get a little bit uncomfortable for you. So the strength you exhibit, how do you exhibit it? Do you waste your strength trying to explain to people why you are better than them? Do you waste your energy trying to explain to people that you have more money in your account? Do you waste your strength, or do you try to exhibit your strength, showing how clever or how intelligent, in quotes, you are? Strength is showing proof, admitting that, okay, I am in a very uncomfortable situation and my proof will tell. Strength is yielding fruit. Strength is the ability to be in a very uncomfortable situation and come out strong, regardless of, see, you're going to fall down. Something I'm going to tell people is that you're going to fall down 7 times. And the ability for you to stand up stronger those 7 times is what defines strength. Strength is the ability to execute, guys. Another aspect of strength I want to talk about. So I saw something on Instagram. So there's this young lady I started following recently. Her name is Kim. And she said that what sets you apart from a lot of people is being able to execute. So what literally sets you apart from, that's what we call being a dreamer and being a doer. Strength is the ability to become a doer. The fact that you know something and you do not implement it, that does not show your strength. You can be knowledgeable about a lot of things and you don't even know, you've never been one to execute. So strength is the ability to know and the ability to implement. Knowing and understanding shows your strength. Knowing and understanding that on our digi day is not forever is what defines strength. Guys, I thought I had a lot to say on this topic. Well, I think I just have a message for you guys today, that we can overcome every situation that seems impossible. A lot of a comfortable situation. And I came across a quote: rock bottom, hitting the rock bottom is a perfect place to rise to the top. Do you think showing strength means that you're not going to fall, you're not going to fail, you're not going to not succeed sometimes? No. Showing your strength or defining strength means that you're going to fall. means they are going to fall. And for every single time you fall or fail, you should be able to come back stronger and better, bigger and better, guys. And that's on period. I am a living testimony. For every time I wanted to start EWL season 2, something happened. Daddy got sick. Daddy left the ward. Daddy, and I just said to myself after attending that conference that bad things are always going to happen. This guy sang while I know they finish, and that is on period. We're always going to have, there is always going to be a problem. I remember 2021 when I started season 1 of EWL podcast. I had those plans of starting my podcast when I was done with school, and COVID happened in 2020. NSAT happened 2020, and I could not graduate school 2020. It was pushed to the next year. So while they finish, so try as much as possible to go for it, guys. Try as much as possible to make good of this opportunity. For every single time you see yourself in an uncomfortable situation, make it count. Make it count, guys. Make every situation, whether good or bad, make it count. And that is what defines strength. Unhealthy competition do not define your strength. Comparison do not define your strength. Definitely do not define your strength. As far as I'm concerned, you can only exhibit strength when you finally understand your capability as a person and the length you're willing to go to achieve your goals, your set goals. But you should always understand that life do not have a certain plan. The only thing that is constant in this life is your goals. Be flexible. As I'm saying this, I'm even talking to myself because I am one rigid individual you will come across. But I think what have worked for me this year is the ability to be flexible, to have the ability to be to always be in situations that are uncomfortable. Because same way, I used to say this every day, I don't like stress. But to get to where I'm going to, a life that shows strength, you are going to always face uncomfortable situation. Your ability to make those situations count is what defines strength. And that is the message for today. So I suggested a very interesting what do you call it, segment, I think it's segment on my podcast, where I would tell you guys one of my weirdest moments or how weird I've been in my adult life, or as myself, whatever. What do you think? Okay, guys, don't forget to stream this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and on YouTube. We are on YouTube, guys. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. Tell me what you think about this topic, strength. I can't wait to hear what you see. I think for every episode I put out, more than the engagement or more than anything that happens, I am very curious to find out what you guys think about each topic I put out there. Yes, so engage on YouTube. Thank you very much, guys. Don't forget to go follow me on Instagram at Oluchi on Twitter, Oluchi on Instagram, EW_podcast on Instagram, Luchi's Concept on Instagram, on Facebook, Oluchi. Like I always say, let's spread love because God is love. Love is God. Have an amazing week. Bye, guys.